and happy Hump Day. So my name's Alex Abbott. I'm the founder of Sapiro, and there's a few other things that I do that helps sales, marketing, and customer success folks doors effectively, and that's essentially what this podcast is about: helping others walk digital corridors effectively. Now, we do have a nice topic to kick things off this morning. It's a post from Chris Walker, which I'll be sharing in a minute. But before I do, Jordan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, certainly. And thank you for having me. So I'm Jordan Abbott. If you couldn't tell, I am Alex's son. I don't know whether that's a blessing or a curse. But I spent some time working at Sapiro, sort of growing it from those early days. Had a great time, and now I work at Vidyard as well as acting as an ambassador for the Emerging Professionals Network, which is a subset of the Institute of Sales Professionals to help equip young sales people to actually build a solid and fulfilling career in this wonderful profession that we know as sales.
Wow, welcome. And this is our first, so please forgive us if you are watching and listening, and something isn't quite working. That's because we're novices at this. This is the first time I've hosted one of these, and I've got all of these controls at my fingertips that I'm still getting used to. But anyway, let's kick things off with this very interesting post from Chris Walker recently. So this is something he posted 5 days ago, and Chris Walker talks about the fact that more than 66% of sales reps are expected to miss their quota this year. Some estimates expect this number to be more than 80% of sales reps that actually miss their quota. And he talks about the traditional demand generation system no longer working how it once did, and the this notion of MQLs and SQLs and the traditional sales funnel no longer working. Now, I have to say, when Rob Durant brought this to my attention, this post, and I read it, I thought, wow, okay, other people are now getting it. We've been saying this for 2 years, and is it possible that the traditional sales funnel is becoming obsolete, is now broken?
Yeah, it's a really good point, and that sort of time frame, 2 years. There's the research by Winning by Design, right, that showed that close rates have dropped by 42% in that time period. So whether it's been a long time coming, or just going back to Chris's post, I think the thing that really jumped out to me, and I think it was right at the bottom, it was the conversion rate from MQL to customer being at 0.01%, I believe it was.
Wow.
It's a little bit small for me to have a look at. But yeah, it's mind blowing, right?
There it is. The average conversion rate from MQL to customer is 0.1%. 1 out of every 1,000.
Yeah, it
doesn't surprise me.
No. It reminds me of The Big Short that Tim recommended, right? And I've got a clip ready, but it does it contains some fruitful or colourful language, so I won't show it. But it's the scene where they're explaining what a CDO is, which is a collateralized debt obligation. And the idea that when it was created, it was, very pure. It was to help mitigate risk and be a solid investment for people. That was when it was first created. So really pure, great idea. And as time's gone on, in order for the banks and brokers to to generate more profits, they started adding more risky mortgages to those bonds. And there's a scene where they've got a Jenga tower with AAA mortgages, the great leads, let's say, just relating to the world of go-to-market. And that's all built upon some more risky, more crappy leads at the bottom. And it reminds me of the modern sales funnel. It feels like we're just throwing spaghetti at a wall, hoping it sticks at the minute to hit our numbers. Everyone's in the same boat. We're all struggling, but quotas aren't adjusting in alignment with the struggles, or it doesn't feel like it is. So we're inflating what we've got in order to make things appear all fine and dandy when really they're not.
Yeah, and it reminds me of something that I was asked to do as a sales and marketing leader 5 years ago, five years ago or more, which is you need to get more from less. The budget's declining, and so I want you to spend what little budget you have in order to get more leads and create more revenue. And that was 5 years ago. And look at what's now happening today. I feel like we're reaching this inflection point where leadership have been saying to salespeople and customer success and marketing teams, you need to get more from less. And we're now reaching this inflection point where these traditional approaches no longer work. But buyers are telling us that they don't like cold calls. They're not answering their phone like they once did. They don't like receiving this incessant amount of emails. And we're as businesses trying to do more and more things creatively to capture the MQL. And now we're in this position where a business needs 1,000 MQLs in order to convert one sale. So, I don't know how else to say it. The traditional funnel is broken. I do feel a little bit like, Noah building an ark when I talk about that and the solution, but we're not necessarily talking about the solution today. I think we're debating kind of the situation that we're in.
Yeah, certainly. And another question that's sort of top of my mind is, so this is my first real experience of working throughout an economic downturn. And I'm sure there's plenty of other people that are in a similar boat to me. This is uncharted territory. I know that you have worked through the crash of 2008, and it's something we've never really spoken about. So I'd love to pick your brain. What kept you sane throughout that period? What was the North Star? I know you're a huge fan of the Challenger cell, which is born out of that tragedy. But I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I think what we have to say now, what I have to say now is that what we're experiencing is like nothing anyone has ever experienced before. So, I think if I look at me and my journey in B2B sales that started in the year 2000, it took me 6-7 years before I learned how to sell effectively. It took me that long before I created my own system where I knew that I could generate enough pipeline to ensure that I would close enough deals to hit sort of 300% of my target. And that I think one thing I put down to that was my the focus that I used to put on prospecting and building those relationships as a sales rep. So I always felt accountable for doing my own prospecting or helping those around me to do it. So when we had the financial crash in 2008, or when my team managing Turkey was experiencing a military coup, and there were quite literally tanks on the Bosphorus Bridge. I think one of our customers' offices were missiled when I was running a team in the Middle East, and we had the oil crisis, which affects Saudi Arabia and the UAE and Oman region very badly. Buyer confidence dropped. Whatever it was, I could always rely on running a little bit faster, trusting in the process of prospecting to ensure there was enough quality pipeline to ensure that we hit our number. So aim for 200%, and whatever happens, we'll still hit 100% of our target. But today it's different. Today it's different for businesses because there's been a fundamental change in buyer behavior that has been happening for the last 15 years. But we sort of hit this inflection point where it doesn't matter what people do, what salespeople do, if they're following the old method, leading with insight, thinking about a buyer as the sitting in that 5% of their territory that's in market to buy. The buyer is now zoned out of all of that noise, whether it's marketing, sales, or customer success, and they don't trust salespeople. When I say salespeople, I'm talking sales, customer success, marketing. Vendors approaching them, they don't trust them anymore. So it's becoming harder and harder to build that connection, that intellectual connection. And I think the only way to do that now is to go back to what we used to do many years ago, rely on relationships. I think unless businesses are empowering their own people to develop relationships at scale and stop selling, they're going to be in a very sorry position in the next few years.
Yeah, agreed. There's a great comment from Andrew. Cost and overheads are rising. Companies budgets are being cut to a shoestring. Sorry. Is there a panic mode from leadership teams to ensure profitability and dividends are being paid to shareholders rather than actually building the company? It's a great question.
Yeah. Wow. We've only got 2 minutes left. We could have a show just on that question alone. So thank you, Andrew.
I think we've got next week's topic, right?
Yeah. Okay, so Andrew, thank you for that brilliant question. Let's make a note of that, and we'll talk about that next week. We're keen to keep these shows to 15 minutes, so they're sort of bite-sized and easily digestible for the audience. But feedback is welcome. If you think they should be longer, let us know. But I've got some thoughts about that, and I'm sure Jordan has. But we'll give that a bit more thought, and then address that next week.
Yeah, indeed. I think that needs the time and the space to breathe and grow. Just with time in mind, as an overview, the thing that you mentioned there, you always used to feel that you could trust in the process. As we know, that process no longer works, and Chris Walker touches on it in the video that's attached to that post. Linking the exponential growth in outsourced sales dev businesses, because businesses don't know necessarily how to fix the problem internally, so they're looking outwards. But is that just adding to the problem?
I think I think it is, because a lot of businesses are still looking for the silver bullet, as opposed to really diagnosing the problem and looking inward at what can be done.
Yeah.
And they'd rather throw some money at it in the hope that there is a silver bullet out there that can solve their problem, rather than really fully diagnosing the problem. And I think we're getting to that point now where so many more people are talking about this topic. The sales funnel is beginning to crumble, the traditional sales funnel, I mean. I'm not talking about an operating model and the bow tie, if people are familiar with the bow tie. But you know, as more and more people are talking about this, credible people are talking about this, I think it's gaining some traction. People are starting to think, oh, maybe there is something in there in this. You know, Alex isn't mad. And I think only then, when we take the time to fully diagnose what the problem is, can businesses come up with the right solution for them.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, well, we are at time. What I am going to do is I'll create a room where I'll house this video, and I'll also put some links to that Big Short clip, the original Chris Walker post, and we can basically just chuck any supporting info or insight into that, and then share it from there.
Great idea. Great idea. Cool. All right. Thank you for joining us all. And Jordan, thank you. Andrew, great comments. Megan, Jackie, Tristan. Sorry if I've missed anyone. Have a great rest of week and happy hump day.
Indeed. Thanks.